Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now here on a victory, wait for it, playoff clinching Monday on Philadelphia Eagles Now as we react to a very impressive, hard-fought win against the Washington football team, and now a playoff berth. The Eagles are going back to the postseason. For the past 5 years, they've been in the playoffs. Didn't go there last year. They are back in it 1 year removed. Just a great day to be an Eagle right now. It's freezing cold outside where I live, so I'm all hoodied up, but we're warm inside because we're pumped about what Philadelphia was able to do on Sunday against Washington, which was an impressive win, right? A very impressive win to go on the road and beat a scrappy Washington football team that was playing for pride. Now, technically, they were still alive for a playoff berth if everything went the right way and they won on Sunday, so you were getting their best effort, and they were embarrassed, 2 weeks ago against us and then last week against the Dallas Cowboys, and so you knew it was going to be a good hard-fought game, and Washington had a very good chance there at the end, but Philadelphia came out on top 20-16. Jalen Hurts was fantastic. We'll talk about him. Defense, up and down. We'll talk about that. Again, bad first half, great second half. Running game was a little iffy without Miles Sanders, but it doesn't matter. They got all the things that needed to fall into place. The Packer win last night. You obviously had, the 49er win against the Texans. All those three things had to happen. It did. Philadelphia locked into a playoff spot. Now, let me just start by saying, I told you it wouldn't be easy, right? I mentioned this multiple times during last week's videos that this was not going to be a blowout, dominant, 35-point victory here by Philadelphia. What happened with the Cowboys last week on Sunday Football was embarrassing to Washington, and they were going to bounce back from it, and they did, and they did a good job, honestly. I mean, credit to that football team. I think that they fought hard, but in the end, Taylor Heineke's not that great of a quarterback, and we've seen that in multiple games this year, and so we'll see what they do this offseason in terms of needing a quarterback. But Philadelphia, they seemed a little rattled early, and it was disappointing to watch, and we'll talk about that. The slow starts are becoming a little bit of an issue, but the ability to rally from 10 points down and get back the lead and then hold on to the lead on that final drive, nothing short of incredible. How about Philadelphia going to the playoffs right now? Give me a fly, Eagles fly down below in the comment section right now, because the Eagles are going to the playoffs. How many of you thought Philadelphia would be a playoff team in a rebuilding year, right? I mean, talking about all the money being paid to Carson Wentz and the rest of the players that aren't on this team. Now it would be a playoff team. You have multiple draft picks in the first round next year. I mean, it's a great day to be an Eagle fan, man. Fly Eagles fly down below in the comment section because the Eagles are going to the playoffs. All right, first big takeaway, Nick Sirianni has some guts. Nick Sirianni, the fourth down calls, absolutely fantastic. He's just going for it. I mean, not hesitating at all. I mean, it was almost felt like Doug Pederson was calling some of those plays yesterday, because you remember Doug in the 2017 season was all about going for it on fourth down and all about, going for it on fourth down and goal, and Doug was able to do that and do it to a lot of success. Listen, those fourth down calls won the game. Had they kicked field goals in the red zone yesterday, they would have lost that game in the end, because Washington had scored enough points. I mean, not a ton, but 16 would have been enough had Philadelphia not been able to convert. And how about Jalen Hurts on one of those fourth down plays, falling backwards, pitching it out to Boston Scott, who, of course, is Mr. December in Philadelphia. 2 rushing touchdowns on the night, or on the day, I should say, yesterday at FedEx Field. Credit to Nick Sirianni for going from a guy who was heavily ridiculed coming out out of the offensive coordinator job at Indianapolis to be the Eagles head coach. People said he could not coach. He was terrible. 2-5, looked terrible, and then really turn things around, focused in on what the Eagles have done best, have got them to 9 wins. Could even be 10 wins next Saturday if they beat Dallas, and, of course, the playoff spot. All right, ad break, pin comment. We'll get into much more of my takeaways here in a second. Go down below. Can the Eagles actually win a playoff game? We'll talk a lot more about the playoffs later on this week, but can they actually win a playoff game? Type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. All right, next takeaway here is Jalen Hurts dominated. I mean, I think I've said 4 or 5 times this year that was the best Hurts game overall, and I'm not going to say that it was the best we've seen him, but it was very elite yesterday. There were so many third downs, especially in the third quarter, where Jalen Hurts had to convert. He had to be good. Think about 3rd and 14 to get them back inside the 5 on that rollout pass to Greg Ward. Fantastic stuff by Jalen Hurts yesterday. He's got some guts, man. He is really, really good. Efficient yesterday. Did not turn the ball over. Ran the football well, especially on, second down, third down, when he scampered for 22 yards. Just converting plays when he needed to and getting the ball into the hands of his playmakers in terms of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. He is playing elite level football. And even though this happened weeks ago in terms of locking up the job for next year, this game, last week's game, going into the postseason, this is your quarterback in 2022. And you guys know I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. I could not be more excited about his future in Philadelphia. Now, obviously, some injury updates will come later on this week. Miles Sanders, potentially Brandon Brooks. We'll cover it all here on the channel. So go ahead and go down below and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Eagles news and rumors, as we currently have 22,165 subs here on the channel. Trying to get that up to 23K by the start of the playoffs 2 weeks away. Come on, guys. We're going to playoffs. Give us a subscribe down below with the red button. Now, one thing I did notice yesterday in terms of my takeaways is that the Eagles did miss Miles Sanders. Now, we talk about Miles Sanders being out. Hopefully he can come back for a postseason run. But without him out there, they really relied heavily on Boston Scott, who's great. And Boston Scott, again, Love him, 2 touchdowns, clutch, especially when you need to convert on third downs, but only 47 yards on the ground. I think Jordan Howard is still banged up, more on that in a second. Hurts ran whenever he needed to, didn't run too much yesterday though, and I think that's a good thing overall. Focus more on the pass and then use your legs when you need to. And then Gainwell continues to be few and far in between, using a little more in the return game than the actual running game for the Eagles. Jordan Howard clearly was not healthy, and you saw that the first couple of drives when he didn't even appear out there, and I started to wonder, are they actually going to play Jordan Howard? But the good news is, with the game on Saturday being basically meaningless, unless you want the 6th seed versus the 7th seed, they have extra time to get Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders, and the rest of this running back core healthy and ready to rock for this playoff push in Philadelphia. More on that here in just a second. First, shout out to our friends at BetUS. Let's take a look at our playoff odds right now, according to BetUS. Bucs are plus 350 as they head towards the postseason. The Packers plus 175. How about Philadelphia? Where are they? Plus 2,800 are their odds right now. So if you want to bet on the Eagles, you can put in a bunch of money. Do with their friends at BetUS. The link on your screen right now, chatsports.com/Eagles, your place that you need to go ahead and jump in on the betting game. And so, of course, do with our friends at BetUS. I was positive. I was in the green. I bet Baylor yesterday, or on Saturday. And, of course, I bet Philadelphia. I bet the Titans to win. And then there was one other team that I bet. What was it? It was the Cardinals to get that win. And so we won a lot of bets yesterday with our friends at BetUS. All right, we do need to mention the fact that the defense looked rough in the first half. They started way too slow, and it's honestly the one concern I have going into the postseason because you're going to play some very good offenses that are much more talented than the Washington football team. And Washington, first 3 drives they scored on. They moved up and down in Philadelphia. The defense must learn to start fast. They've got to learn to go ahead and start much faster because letting your opponent get up 10-0, again, is fine against bad teams like the Giants or the Washington football team. It's not good against teams like the Bucs you have to play in the wild card round, or the Cardinals, or the Rams, the Cowboys, whoever it is, cannot start slow. This defensive line, I know they're missed Brandon Graham all year, and having him in there would be massive, but they've got to get more pressure. It's really been Josh Sweat and nobody else. Ryan Kerrigan did nothing yesterday. Of course, Derek Barnett had a easy wide open sack that he absolutely whiffed on Taylor Heineke. They've got to get a little bit better. Their pressure is going to be important as you head to the postseason. They had very little of that, especially early on in that game. What's your confidence level in the Eagles' defense going into the playoffs on a scale of 1 to 10 right now? How confident are you? They definitely clutched up there in the end. That's even a word. They really toughened up in terms of slowing down Taylor Heineke in the second half, but that first half to me had a little bit of a concern. Secondary got beat a little bit, especially early. We'll see what they do going forward. We'll see what they even play against Dallas, which we'll talk about here in a second. But comments on the Eagles down below right now, scale of 1 to 10. Finally here, I tweeted this out yesterday, and I said I'm going to stand behind it all week. The Eagles should rest their starters on Saturday. There's no need to start anybody on the starting 11 on defense or 11 on offense against Dallas. You're playing for nothing. The 6 and 7 seed, it's not a big deal, and you really shouldn't go ahead and worry about beating the Dallas Cowboys, because the Cowboys, I think, will start, and they will play their starters because they're playing for playoff seeding right now. But even then, besides pride, there's no point in playing the starters, right? Because the only reason that you want to go ahead and play the starters is to win, to have an idea on who you're going to play, right? The odds of who they're going to play in the playoffs is the Bucs right now. That's kind of how it's all going to shake out, because the Bucs play the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, so we expect the Bucs to go ahead and win that game, making them the 2 seed. And with the current situation going on in New England, I'm not going to say I want Tom Brady, but the Bucs are the most injured team going into the NFL playoffs, and they can be run on. Philadelphia, first time they played them, lost by less than a touchdown, or lost by less than, 10 points, 8 points, whatever it was in Philadelphia, and they only ran the ball 9 times all night. That was the last game before they actually started running the football. So I'm fine with losing on Saturday, getting everybody healthy, maybe Brandon Brooks, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, everybody 100%, and then waltzing into Tampa for potentially a big wild card game that you could have a real chance to win. So I think they should rest the starters. We'll talk more about that later on this week, but I feel confident that the Eagles should do that. There's no need to play people unless you want to just for pride beat the Cowboys, but I'm fine with the Cowboys winning. The focus is in on getting healthy for the postseason. Finish on this. Would you rest the starters on Saturday night? What do you think? I know it's not fun because it'd be fun. I've seen the starters beat Dallas because that's a pride thing overall. If you got tickets to the game, you want to see the actual starters play. But would you rest the starters? Type R down below for rest, or type S down below for start. All right, ultimate video today on our Philadelphia Eagles reaction news and rumor video here on a Victory Monday as they get that win. Oh, man, I'm pumped. You guys are pumped, too. Give me a thumbs up down below for the Eagles balling out and getting that playoff spot. More videos later on this week. Be sure to subscribe. And, of course, stay tuned for the latest and greatest Eagles coverage here on the channel. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, winning on a Monday, Thomas Mott signing off for the rest of your day.